Welcome to San Joaquin Spotlight, a public affairs program featuring conversations about life in the central San Joaquin Valley. This program is brought to you in partnership between KFSR 90.7 FM and CMAC Fresno. I'm your host, Sevag Tateosian. Today, we have the honor of having Head Consul Vicente Sanchez from the Consulate of Mexico in Fresno. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, and thank you for letting me have the opportunity to talk with you and with the audience. Yeah.
First of all, this is unique because in the Fresno area, we really don't have any foreign representation, but you actually represent a foreign government. Talk about what you do.
Yeah, well, I'm the Consul of Mexico. I began this position in June the 7th, almost 2 months ago. You're right, we are the only foreign representation here in Central Valley. And Fresno is an important city the state of California is important for Mexico, but Fresno especially, it's important because many issues. Yes, we have one of the largest community in the area. Over 1 million of Mexicans are living in the area, and then it let us have the opportunity to serve them. Yeah.
And when you say 1 million, you're talking about San Joaquin Valley because, you know, one thing I didn't realize is although you're the consulate in Fresno, you represent Valley counties. Which counties do you represent?
Yeah, well, there are 8 of them in Central Valley. Yes, I don't remember exactly the names of everyone, but it's in Central Valley, 8 of them.
And you actually have staff that go out to different counties as well, which is unique because it seems like you're trying to go where the people are.
Yes, exactly. We have, according to statistics, we are seeing in which cities we have the largest or concentration of Mexicans. According to that, we serve the community through a program. It's called Consulado sobre Ruedas. It's a mobile consulate. We do this from Tuesday to Thursday, every week. Every week we are visiting different communities in the area.
Mm-hmm. And what do people tell you when you see them? I mean, you know, I've been to the consulate office number of times. You have a great outreach program, and a lot of people trust you. So when some of your clients come and see you, I mean, are they thanking you? Are they proud that you're here?
Yeah, well, it depends how we serve our community. If somebody is wrong for something, yes, they don't like to talk with us. But usually, what we find is that the people like to talk with us. They are very respectful with the Mexican authority, and it let us have the opportunity to share with them all the programs that we have, because it's not just documentation, the passports of Mexican IDs. We talk about health, culture, protection. We call protection to the Mexican nationals, but it's a legal advice that we have for them, and some advice in general, because the Mexican population in the United States, they need a lot of help. They need a lot of needs. And that's why the consular network system is here in the United States through 50 consulates. We are 50 and 11 just in California.
That's amazing.
Yes.
11 just in California.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Well, we're glad to have you in Fresno because it makes us feel proud that there's actually a foreign representation here in Fresno. Let's backtrack a little bit, and let's go back and talk a little bit about you. You mentioned that you just started here on the consulate, at the consulate office. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Where'd you grow up in Mexico, though?
I was born in Mexico, in Puebla.
Puebla.
It's a colonial city, very close to Mexico City. Now, this colonial city was historically, was the central part of the history of Mexico when we talk about Cinco de Mayo. The Cinco de Mayo celebration was a battle in the city of Puebla against the French army in 1862. But well, for different reasons now in the United States, Cinco de Mayo, it's very
celebration.
Celebration.
Yeah.
Some people understand that this is the Independence Day of Mexico or something related to the independence of Mexico, but not necessarily. In Mexico, we celebrate, for example, this day, this historic day, but not as an independent day. Our Independence Day is September the 16th. In a month, we're going to see many people, vibrant people celebrating the Independence Day. But Puebla is my hometown.
So you were growing up in your hometown. Is your hometown like Fresno, or how would you compare it to some of the other cities in the United States?
Yes, some similarities. Yes, it's surrounded by mountains. Some volcanoes are the
Volcanoes even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have two volcanoes, two very important volcanoes, because one of them is active now, El Popocatépetl. Yes, El Popo is very known, popular now is Popo. Well, it's active now, and now there's some exhalations, and well, we are in a difficult area, but Puebla is in the foothills.
And when you were growing up, did you ever think that you would represent Mexico in the United States or in a different country? I mean, you know, there are different paths that you could have taken. Why did you decide to take this path?
It's interesting because when I was, well, in the probably 8th grade, I was seeing in the 60s that the world is more than Mexico City, more than some states surrounding Mexico. And Mexico is visited almost every year for millions of people. I remember when I was very young to talk with somebody from the United States in English, yeah. And I tried to do my best effort and say, and probably they need to understand more the world, to talk with more people in different languages. It gives me this energy to be beyond my neighborhood, yes. Mm-hmm. That's why I studied college in the National University of Mexico, International Relations. Since then, I knew perfectly that my vision was in the international arena. But well, now that serving my country more than 30 years, I'm very satisfied, because in the very beginning, let me tell you, this is something that I like to share. In the very beginning, my idea was to be a physician.
Interesting.
Yes.
Physician.
Physician.
Now
yeah.
you went another direction. You're helping people, but just not in the
another
hospital.
way.
In another way.
Yes, and because my mom gave me this vision. Every time when we talk about how it's going to be in the future, he advised me, no, you have to be a doctor in the family. You have to take care about the family because we need you. And probably she gave me the energy to help, yes. She gave me the energy to be educated, despite she didn't finish school, elementary school. And well, probably it was my challenge for me. And well, years ago, I finished high school and college. When I finished college, I decided to enter in the foreign service,
okay,
because this is the way that I like to serve my country and my community.
So you go into the foreign service, and then do they tell you there that you're going to go to the United States, or how did that whole thing happen where you learned that you're going to the United States?
Well, in the foreign service, we are, as I told you, a consular network system integrated by 50 consulates. We have more of the people in the foreign service are located in the United States. That's why we need to have more people with experience. My first post was in Dallas, Texas. Yes, I received just the instruction, writing instruction that say your first position is going to be in Dallas, Texas.
Can I stop you just there and ask you, what's going on in your mind at that time? I mean, it's like similar to a surprise, right? I mean,
yes.
You had no idea that you were going to Dallas. So what's going on?
Yeah, well, yes. Let me tell you that for me, I was expecting to be diplomat in Europe, or Washington, and Paris, or something like that. But when I received this, I understood perfectly that Mexico is very important with our communities here. And at that time, in middle 80s, the migratory reform was approved. I remember that I arrived to my first post with this impact of the immigration in the United States. They impact my life. Yeah.
And it might be off topic, but the Spanish that's spoken in the United States and the Spanish that's spoken in Mexico, are there differences, or it's the same dialect?
Well, because the people are living here in Spanish, but in English also, they mix some words. We have another language sometimes that is difficult. I remember this, my first post was some names and special people, for example, the boss or sent a kind of food or something. In the beginning, for me, I didn't understand. But I understand this mixture.
Yeah.
English, Spanish, yes.
And that's why I asked you the question, because, you know, you get to Dallas and, you know, maybe the Spanish spoken is a little different. So you get to Dallas and the community welcomes you, or what happens?
Yeah, it was very interesting because I have the opportunity to visit every community. And I remember some stories about the migrant people, how they, at that time, how the experience was to arrive to the United States with just limited English, with just limited knowledge about the American culture. And at that time, I remember I was, yes, for me, as a diplomat, was something very new. Very new, for example, just to the gas station.
Yeah.
And just for yourself, put etc. to do, for them, it was something incredible. Because in Mexico, well, you arrive to the gas station and somebody's taking care about this, but not here. You by yourself.
Self-service.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you need to push the correct button. You need to choose exactly different kinds of gasoline, etc. Just this is part of the American culture, and I understood perfectly how the community lives here in the United States. That's why. In the very beginning, impact my life. And I'm very happy that after years, I served in different consulates in the United States, and in Puerto Rico also. My last post was in Michigan for 7 years, and that's why I say I complete 7 years of good experience.
You, after Dallas, then did you go to Michigan?
No. Dallas, then I spent some 2 years in Puerto Rico, 3 years in New Orleans, 3 years in Nicaragua.
Wow, you're traveling to many different cities.
Then after 12 years, I went back to Mexico City for 2 years. I made new friends, I remember, at that occasion. For me, it was another post. And after that, I spent 7 years, almost 7 years in Austin, Texas. And after that, well, Michigan for 7 years.
How does Fresno compare, the community in Fresno? Is it similar to the community in Dallas or Austin or Michigan? Or, I mean, I know we're a rural town. Is that the same in the other cities as well?
Well, we have a rural community in every city, yes. Probably the proportion is less. Michigan is an important and significant the number of agricultural farmers, yes. But most is known in Michigan is the automotive sector.
Yes.
We have a large group of professionals, almost over 2,000 engineers from Mexico now are working in the automotive sector. And probably this is the difference because when I talk about immigration, we talk about the migrant people, the farmers and services construction, but it's very little known about the engineers, the professionals. And this group of people are contributing with the economy. They have good positions. They are presidents, CEOs, general managers. They speak 2, 3, 5 languages. They travel a lot and are Mexicans. They studied in Mexico languages, their careers, etc., etc.
Talk about when you got to Fresno. Did the community welcome you?
Yes, definitely yes, since the first day. I remember the people wants to greet me and say and ask me many things, yes. And I'm very happy, for example, that after a month, somebody approached me and say, I'd like to greet you because I saw you on TV, in Univision, for example, because I was interviewed for some topics. And I say, and this person says, yes, I like to greet you because I saw you in TV, and I like that your ideas and your opinion about the different topics that you mentioned, and congratulations. For me, was a compliment Yes, something that unexpectedly I received from somebody in the streets. Yes, and I appreciate this kind of approaches from the people because probably what I'm feeling is that the people are receiving my ideas with happiness. Yeah, and well, this is a compromise for me.
One of the ideas that I remember we were talking about at the office was financial education. You're very aware of all of the financial education going on. In Michigan, you did some impressive things with financial education. Are you looking at doing similar things in Fresno?
Yes, my experience, all my experience that I have from my different positions in different cities, they took me the opportunity to learn more about this and to learn how to work. And financial education is, for me, is one of the priorities. Now we are preparing a strategy about this, and then very soon we're going to see some results because financial education is very important for everyone, including me.
Why is it so important, you think, financial education? I mean, why can't we just say, I make money, I'm going to spend it today and not worry about tomorrow?
Yeah, well, this is what I'm seeing in the community. We need to have a healthy community, educated community, but when we talk about how to manage your family, it's important because the people, they used to keep their money under the mattress or spending money in the bank to send some remittances. And it doesn't matter if the fee is very high. Yes, we need to reduce everything. We need to recommend the people open banking accounts. Yes, because it's the best way to have the money safe. Yeah. Usually the Mexicans, because they don't have the familiarity with the banking system, they keep the money on their pockets. And sometimes it's very difficult because,
too.
yeah, it's very dangerous for them to keep money. Sometimes we are talking about thousands of dollars.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about the community in Fresno. I mean, a lot of people assume that when they see someone speaking Spanish that they're from Mexico, mm-hmm. but I imagine that you serve or see different Spanish-speaking people from different countries. Where else do people in Fresno come from?
Yeah, well, most from Mexico, of course, but we can find some people from Central America or Puerto Ricans. They speak Spanish. And of course, the perception is that all the people who speak Spanish are Mexicans. Not necessarily. These stereotypes is not necessarily true. We have people with different accents, with different cultures, and with cultural programs, for example, like or the educational programs like the Plaza Comunitaria. We serve the community in Spanish. It doesn't matter if they are from Honduras, of course, Mexico, but from different countries, just that they speak Spanish, and our programs are approached to them.
I have friends that go to Mexico often. They have a house in Mexico, and they love it. It's in Rosarito, mm-hmm. you know. Mm-hmm. There's a misconception that there's crime in Mexico or it's dangerous. What misconceptions do you see when you're out in the community about either Mexico or Mexicans?
Well, in Mexico we are, unfortunately, we having some difficult times, yes, because we can say different stories when you are reading the newspaper that something is happening in certain areas. We know now that it's very focused where we are. We have these kind of problems, but the government is, since not now, years ago, the old administration and actually the administration are struggling with because we need to have the people happy. Yes, we need to have the people safe. Yeah, and of course, the narco traffic is one of the problems that mm-hmm. we have. We are struggling with this, but now we are resolving this, but in collaboration with the United States and Canada, because it's not, the problem with the drugs is not just one problem for one country, it's a transnational problem now. And now our recommendation is just the common sense. Don't go to certain areas because we know that we have problems there. But the rest of the country is safe. We receive every year millions of tourists. Actually, the tourism is one of the incomes that we have in Mexico. Just to mention, last year we received over 21 or 22 million of tourists, mainly from the United States and Canada.
That's incredible. Those are big numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the food in Mexico and compare it to the food in the United States, because some people will say the food is great here, but then they go to Mexico and the food is even better. So talk about the differences. I mean, you've had both types of foods regularly.
Yeah, well, this is something that I like to talk because when we talk about some stereotypes, food is one of them. If I ask somebody about the Mexican food, usually they respond, okay, tacos, yeah, because this is the misconception about the Mexican food. But when we talk about Mexico and all history that we have, more than 33,000 years, it let us have a variety of cuisines from different. The cuisine from, for example, from the south of Mexico or central Mexico, or the coast or the north of Mexico are totally different. But the ingredients are the difference in it. And we have high cuisine, very expensive. If you visit Mexico, for example, Mexico City, you will find excellent restaurants. Mm-hmm. Mexican food is very appreciated for many people, and we have very good chefs, yeah, that they prepare succulent food, succulent dishes with the local ingredients. And well, we invite the people who visit Mexico, no, don't try the burritos or tacos. Go beyond that, yes, and it's good to taste the different ingredients that we have in Mexico. As I told you, the cuisine in Yucatan is something excellent, but it's different from central Mexico.
There are a couple of restaurant chains, fast food restaurant chains, that call themselves Mexican food, but they don't have seafood. Like there's a couple of big ones that I try to go and have seafood, but they don't have it. Is Mexico a country where it has a lot of seafood?
Exactly, yeah. And we have, Mexico is surrounded by seas, the Caribbean, Pacific, Atlantic, the Gulf of Mexico. It let us have a variety of seafood, yes. And local dishes are succulent dishes, yes. And I like, for example, to try and hear the impact of Sinaloa and Sonora to this area. I can see in some local restaurants some seafood from this area. Mm-hmm.
I have a neighbor that lives half time in Fresno and half time in Mexico. Is that common? I mean, are you seeing that there are a number of people that have like this dual residence? They come here, they'll work, maybe go there for a month and then come back and work?
Yes, we have in Mexico over 1 million of U.S. citizens living in my country. Mexico is one of the important countries for Americans living abroad. The second one probably is going to be Canada or Europe, but well, less than 1 million. And this group of people live in Mexico. They enjoy the flavor of Mexico, and because we are very close, they can spend sometimes here. I remember in Michigan, they live during the winter time in Mexico. Almost 6 or 7 months, yes, and they going back during summer, and of course they enjoy the good weather in the area. Mm-hmm.
Do you welcome businesses? Like, let's say that I'm a businessman, and I say, you know what, I love Mexico, I love the country, I want to invest there and open a business. Do you welcome that?
Yes, this is very open market. Thanks to the free trade agreements, we opened the investment in Mexico, and actually United States has a large investors in my country. In the recent times, we have more countries are investing in my country, and it's safe. It's very, very safe, and well, it let us have more jobs, more consumption from American products in Mexico. We are one of the largest markets from American products in my country. Mm-hmm.
We're running out of time this week, but what is the major export of Mexico? And I ask you the question because the other day I was talking to somebody and they said this car is made in Mexico, or
yes,
the parts of this car are made in Mexico. And it got me thinking, because I was wondering what would be the biggest export in Mexico?
Well, the first one is oil.
Oil.
The oil industry is number one. The second is manufacture. And in this area, the automotive sector is one of the largest, yes. We export, we build 2.8 millions of vehicles in Mexico. Most of them are for exportation here to the United States and for the rest of the world. Yeah, but it's very important. The automotive sector let us have more opportunities. That's why, for example, despite that Michigan is in the north, it's our third partner, trade partner.
That's amazing.
The first one is California, the second is Texas, but the third one is Michigan, sorry.
And Michigan is all the way north of the United States border,
That's
so you
why.
have a big land to cover.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do trucks go and come regularly?
Yes, we're talking just, for example, an idea is between Canada and Michigan, is because I live there, 3,000 trucks are crossing daily. In Mexico, it's triple or quadruple.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. Well, Consul, I wish we had more time to talk to you a little bit more about the relationship between the U.S. and Mexico. We're out of time this week on the program. Thank you so much for coming to the program.
Thank you. It's a privilege for me because it let me talk about a little bit more about my country. And I like to add that the people here in this world we are living with perceptions, stereotypes. Go beyond that, because when we find something new, probably we are not discovering nothing new, but this is good for our life.
Thank you so much. And we'll have you back on the program to talk about other stuff.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here.
That's all for this edition of San Joaquin Spotlight. Our guest this week was Vicente Sanchez. He was the head consul of the Mexican Consulate here in Fresno, in our backyard. Thank you to the volunteer crew that made this and every production possible. Thank you to 90.7 FM KFSR Fresno. Tune in next week to a new edition.